Hey everyone, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to explain Systemctl. And you know why this matters? Because most engineers treat it like a simple start-stop switch. But if you do not understand how it handles dependencies, logging, and automatic restarts, you are leaving your server vulnerable to downtime. This one concept can save you hours of manual debugging during an outage. Imagine it is 2 in the morning. Your primary API service crashes because of a memory leak. If you are managing it manually, it just stays dead until you wake up to restart it. That is a massive business impact. Without a proper service manager, you have no way to ensure your application stays alive, no way to control the order in which services start, and no unified way to check the status of your entire stack. You are essentially flying blind. So what is Systemctl exactly? It is the primary tool used to interact with systemd. Think of systemd like the conductor of an orchestra. Every service is a musician. The conductor ensures that the percussionist doesn't start before the pianist, and if one musician falls off their chair, the conductor immediately alerts the stage manager to replace them. That is exactly what Systemctl allows you to do for your software processes. Let us look at how this works internally. You type a command into the Systemctl interface. That command travels to the system manager, which acts as the brain. The manager then talks to your service units. These are the configuration files that define how your app runs. Finally, system interacts directly with the Linux kernel to start, stop, or monitor the actual processes. It is a clean, direct path from your keyboard to the operating system. Before we get into the technical steps, let us make sure you are ready. First, you need a modern Linux distribution like Ubuntu 22.04 or later. Second, you must have sudo access because modifying system services is a high privilege task. Third, make sure you have your terminal ready to go. Finally, verify you are actually on a system-based machine by running the command shown on screen. If it returns systemd, you are ready to follow along. Take a moment to review each point shown on screen. Let us put this into practice. First, we install Nginx using the package manager. Once installed, we check its status using the Systemctl status command. This gives us the current state, whether it is running, and the last few lines of its logs. Finally, we use isActive to get a simple yes or no response, which is perfect for writing automated scripts later. When you run the status command, you should see output similar to this. The key line is the active field. It should say active and running. You will also see the main PID, which is the process identification number assigned by the kernel. This confirms your service is managed correctly. Now, here is what a senior engineer would actually write for a production application. This is a unit file. Notice the restart equals always line. That is the secret sauce. If your application crashes at 3 a.m., system will automatically start it back up for you without you ever knowing there was a problem. We also specify the user to ensure it runs with the least amount of privilege necessary, which is a critical security best practice. After creating that file, you must run daemon reload. This tells system to read your new configuration file from the disk. Then we use enable, which creates the symlinks required to start the service automatically when the server reboots. Finally, we start the service. If you skip the reload step, system will ignore your changes, and that is a common trap for new admins. What happens if you see this error? It usually means you either placed the file in the wrong directory or you forgot to run the daemon reload command. System caches configuration files, so it literally does not know your new file exists until you force it to refresh its memory. The fix is simple. Double-check your path and run that reload command again. Let us talk about a real-world scenario. A logistics platform tracking 50,000 shipments daily was losing money every time their tracking service went down. Their team was tired of getting paged at night for simple restarts. By moving their application into a proper systemed unit with the restart policy we discussed, they effectively turned a fragile script into a self-healing service. This allowed their engineers to focus on new features instead of babysitting processes. So when should you use this? Use Systemctl for any process that needs to stay running permanently, like your web server or database. It is also excellent for handling complex startup dependencies. However, do not use it for quick, one-off scripts that run for a second and exit, that is just bloat. And most importantly, if you are working with Docker, let the container handle the process. Trying to force system inside a container is a common architectural mistake. Use these criteria to decide if this tool is right for your situation. To wrap up, remember these 4 points. First, always verify health with the status command. Second, never forget to reload the daemon after configuration changes. Third, use the automatic restart directive to build self-healing systems. Finally, keep your services secure by avoiding root execution whenever possible. These habits will make your server administration much more stable and professional. I believe this video will definitely be a useful video. If you like the video, please do like and hype the video. Also share it with your friends and groups. It may be useful to somebody else. If you have any doubts or any requests, please let me know in the comments. Make sure you have subscribed to stay updated for our regular videos. Join our WhatsApp community using the link in the description because we share more knowledgeable content every day. Thank you for watching. See you soon in the next video.